Hello everyone! You've left me a couple of questions about Warlords of Draenor and I'm going to do my best to answer them all. Let's just begin and see how far we can go, shall we? Will Saurfang join us? There's been no confirmation given about this, but they've only said that if it was up to a vote, Chris Madsen would make either Saurfang or Eitrigg the next racial leader for the Orcs. Nothing else has been said about Saurfang himself, but I would find it very funny to see our Saurfang meeting younger Saurfang. Could be very cool. Also, I'm really annoyed by the setup story. It has always been established that the Orcs were peaceful and shamanistic before the drinking of the demon blood. Even says it in the race background when creating a new character. This is what made the Orcs truly unique to me, and now it seems this uncorrupted Iron Horde are just as bloodthirsty as the Horde that drank the demon blood. Because seems to me they are again tweaking what has been established to fit with the theme of the expansion, and it makes the lore as a whole weaker. I'll stop moaning now and try and wait till launch to drone on, but what are your thoughts on this? I can't agree more. That's also one of the things that struck me as something they could screw up. Even though these are not our Orcs and the events on Draenor won't affect our history, you can still see what the Orcs would do without the demon blood, which can change all the lore behind the Orcs as we know it. The Orcs were not warmongers, they lived in relative peace, worshipping their ancestors and having a party every once in a while. Of course they had the occasional battle with ogres or Gron or even competitive amongst each other, but they never had the desire for world domination. The whole reason why they turned into the warmongers was Kil'jaeden the Deceiver. And eventually, of course, his demon blood. Garrosh is not as powerful as Kil'jaeden was, he's not so manipulative, so I wonder what he can say or do to turn these Orcs into the same horde as we've seen with the first invasion. Only this time they won't have the excuse of demon blood, so it will be interesting to see what exactly he can do to turn them from peaceful Orcs to warmongers. I can only speculate on this, and somehow I have the idea that they're going to change some of the events as we know it. In our timeline, the current order is the following. We have Kil'jaeden into the picture, Ner'zhul tells them all to get ready for war, Ner'zhul finds out that Kil'jaeden is bad and he wants out. At that moment his apprentice Gul'dan steps in and continues to follow Kil'jaeden's orders. He offers the rest demon blood, and Kil'jaeden leaves them behind once the deed is done, and he believes the Draenei to be dead. At that moment, Medivh contacts Gul'dan in a dream and tells him about Azeroth and explains how he can build the Dark Portal. That's the order as we know it. Now the new order for this Iron Horde Draenor could be exactly the same as we've seen it. As in, Ner'zhul gets everyone pumped up and ready for war, Gul'dan steps in, but only the moment where they drink the demon blood, that moment will be changed. That way we still have the same reason as to why they become the warmongers, because once you taste the blood of Draenei and once you're in battle it's hard to get out of that mindset, and all Garrosh has to do at that point is direct them to Azeroth. That brings up a new question though, how is Garrosh going to make them build the Dark Portal? In the original story it was Medivh who told Gul'dan how to do it. On this new Iron Horde Draenor, if they follow the normal order, that won't happen. Garrosh isn't trained in the arts of magic, so how are they going to make this portal? Maybe he's going to bring the Book of Medivh with him, that should have some notes. Maybe Kairos will have some additional information for them. Maybe they're going to alter the chain of events and make Medivh contact Gul'dan anyways, despite the Draenei not being dead yet. We don't know, and I hope that they give a proper explanation for this and a good story behind it. But we can only hope for that and wait for the release as you stated in your question. Will we see Nobundo? They didn't say anything about him, but I really hope so. For those that don't know his story, I'll place a link in the description to his free short story, and it explains a little bit about how the Draenei experienced the war with the Orcs for the very first time, and it's just a very sad and powerful story. Can recommend it if you want to get ready for this expansion, and it would be awesome to see these Iron Horde Draenei to get in contact with our Draenei who have the shamanism of the Orcs, who have these broken fighting with them. Would be awesome to see, and I hope they're going to do something with it. Do you think they will add a new hero class, normal class or races they just didn't want to announce it yet? I don't work for Blizzard, so I can't tell you what they will or will not do, but I would imagine that a new race or class, that's something you want to get people hyped about and you want to promote that at BlizzCon. So I personally don't think we will see a new playable race or class in this expansion. What do you think about the fact that there are 2 Burning Legions now, since Garrosh is going to connect a different timeline with the one we have, so there are actually 2 Sargerasuses now? Yep, That's the can of worms that you open up when you add the possibility of connecting multiple realities to each other. You're absolutely right, there are now going to be 2 of everything we haven't killed yet, and even some of the bad guys that we did kill, they're now back. The only thing they've got going is that Draenor isn't connected to anything else besides our Azeroth. That means that anything going on Iron Horde Azeroth won't be a problem. I mean, that world is pretty much doomed, since they won't have the Horde invading, they'll never have the Alliance as we know it, and they won't be able to band together against bad guys like Kafun or Kel'Thuzad, or anything that required both factions to take it out. They won't have both factions. That world will most likely die, or explode, or be taken over by darkness, but hey, we don't care, because we need to deal with Iron Horde Draenor. To connect to this question, does that mean that we will have to fight, for example, 2 Kil'jaedens? I highly doubt it, to be honest. Kil'jaeden is on the phone with Gul'dan, he might try to manipulate certain events, but I don't see a massive battle against Kil'jaeden himself. The main reason for this is because we still have a Kil'jaeden to fight on our world, on our timeline. Even if we defeat this Iron Horde Kil'jaeden, first of all, it won't make a difference. And second of all, that would mean that we have to fight our Kil'jaeden for a second time. And how lame would it be to fight the same boss twice in a row? I mean, where would be the challenge? Yeah, we just defeated you in Warlords of Draenor and now you're going to invade again. But we know that we are powerful enough to take you on. That would be kinda silly, and that's the main reason why I believe that we won't be seeing much of the Burning Legion or Kil'jaeden. It's always a possibility, of course. In my opinion, it would just suck. What I do wonder is if they'll resurrect Gruul the Dragon Slayer and make him a boss again. Or perhaps the Iron Horde Draenor will push into our side. Would be interesting to see. I'm not sure which are your opinions about this, but I basically played WoW because of the lore. And I was really excited about Wrathion's quest for Titan lore, which would have, sooner or later, finished the lore. Yeah, you must keep your games up, but are we supposed to wait 1 or 2 years to get something about that plot? Well, first of all, finishing the lore will probably never happen. Mr. Pandaria showed that they can still create new stories, and if they want, they can keep the story going forever. The rest of your question, I have to admit, and for those who follow me on Facebook, you already know this, I was a bit disappointed with the time travel story. There was so much teasing and hinting in Mr. Pandaria. There's so much unexplored lore and story that they can still deal with on our Azeroth. But instead they decide to go and dump it all behind for an adventure on Draenor. That kinda sucks, but on the other hand, seeing these Warlords of Draenor, after researching the story a little bit, I'm excited to see what they're going to do. As long as they don't make me follow Thrall around for the entire expansion like they did in the Cataclysm, I'm okay with it. All these other stories, they will still be there and we can explore them later. Besides that, just because we're going to follow Garrosh to Iron Horde Draenor, doesn't mean that they can't connect it to the current storyline.
We are in a space where we're trying to think very far ahead of the expansion sets we are currently working on. Although we can't get into it today for obvious reasons. How this one escalates and what happens at the end of this one, it's going to spill over into the next one. So as you guys call out names of characters you want to see, yeah, we want to see them too. So as usual, bear with us. I hope you guys are in for the long haul, because we are. And we've got expansion sets galore kind of lined up in the queue like bullets in a 6-shooter. So please be patient with us. We will get to it all.
Thank you, Chris.
I speculated in my time travel videos about Wrathion, Kairos, perhaps even Anduin aiding Garrosh in buying us more time, or perhaps changing our reality. We know that's not going to happen, since Iron Horde Draenor will not affect our history, so I was wondering, what's the motivation behind letting Garrosh out of his cage and giving him this golden ticket for time traveling? Once again, we can only speculate, but someone on the forum came up with the idea to add Iron Horde Draenor troops to our troops at the end of the expansion. Think about it, both Draenei and Orcs have lost a whole bunch of troops, and they could fill those numbers up with what they collect from Iron Horde Draenor. Those that don't side with the Iron Horde could follow us back to Azeroth. The Draenei that survive could fill up the ranks of the Draenei on our Azeroth. That way, our Azeroth defense team will have bigger numbers and perhaps enough numbers to stand against the coming Burning Legion. That's just one idea though. Someone else came up with the idea that Wrathion is going to make Garrosh create this alternative reality in the hopes that this Iron Horde Draenor will conquer our planet, and then that complete Iron Horde Draenor will be able to defend it against the Burning Legion. We don't know what Blizzard is planning, and I can't wait to find out. They're going to show how Drek'thar went blind. I thought he was born blind. I had to check this one out on Wowpedia, and apparently Little is known of Drek'thar's early life, beyond the fact that some stories claim he was blind from birth, and others that he was an apprentice shaman to the Frostwolf Farseer, Mother Kesher, for many years on Draenor. The information that he was born blind apparently comes from the WoW manual, so apparently that information is wrong and he wasn't born blind, and we're going to see him go blind.
As an Orc shaman will go into Draenor with the shamanism that was developed on Azeroth. Since we're dealing with the race of shamans who were not locked up into Azeroth, what kind of mega powerful shamanism that developed over 35 years on Draenor are we going to be seeing, and will it change our method of shamanism as well?
You're going to see awesome stuff. You're going to see Drek'thar. You're going to see that actually embodying in Drek'thar. You're going to see him go blind from just messing with the elements, so to speak. But there are actually huge shamanistic elemental lines that we're going to play with in this expansion. There's going to be a lot that we tell, I think. Yeah.
Why do we even have to go back in time and stop Garrosh if it won't change our version of Azeroth? We need to go back in time to stop the Iron Horde from invading our reality. That's the main threat behind this expansion, and that's the main reason why we need to take out this army. Why don't we just blow up the portal? Because we tried it before after the first Horde invasion, and the link between Draenor and Azeroth can't be broken. So I would imagine that in this storyline you can't just take out the Dark Portal. Why don't we station troops at the portal to keep any invading force from entering? I don't know, but it's possible that this invading force will be so great that the only option is to go to Draenor and dismantle it at the core. Why doesn't Garrosh wait with invading until the Draenei are destroyed? And why does he invade our Azeroth instead of old Azeroth on his Iron Horde reality? I have no idea. Perhaps Kairos played a little trick on him, perhaps they promised him that he would have a fresh Azeroth to conquer, and instead they make a connection to our Azeroth? I don't know. I hope they will give it a good introduction story, but there's a big chance that they don't deal with any of this, and that they just send us to Iron Horde Draenor because they can. Because they want to show these old heroes, these old Orcish warlords in their prime, and they want us to explore Draenor as it was in its prime, together with the Draenei and the Naru, all that storytelling, and it's very possible that they said, okay, we want to show this, how can we do this? Shall we just go with alternative realities? Why not? Let's do it, let's push people through the Dark Portal again, and let's have some fun. Very possible, and we won't know until they release the expansion. What about Illidan? They didn't mention Illidan, so as far as we know, our Illidan is still dead. The Illidan created in this Iron Horde reality should still be in his prison, and like I said, Iron Horde Azeroth won't be connected to Draenor, so we won't have to deal with anything that's related to old Azeroth. Will we still be able to visit Outland as well, as it now exists? Yes, we will be able to visit it. They weren't sure yet on how they're going to do it, but they were talking about moving that portal to the Caverns of Time. No matter what solution they come up with, I can guarantee you the old content will still be available. Is Gul'dan on the phone with our Kil'jaeden or Iron Horde Kil'jaeden? That's actually a very interesting question, and they didn't specify which Kil'jaeden is on the phone. From all the surrounding information, I would say that it's Iron Horde Kil'jaeden, but that's just my interpretation. Why did the Orcs drink the demon blood, and what were the consequences of doing so? They drank the demon blood because Gul'dan offered it as a way to increase their power, as a blessing by the beings who were so good to them. Only Durathan, Ner'zhul and Gul'dan knew what it actually was. The rest just believed it was a way for more power and a very nice blessing. This is a quote from the book as Kil'jaeden grants Gul'dan the blood of Manoroth. "Behold, the blood of the Destructor," gloated Kil'jaeden. "It burns away all that will not serve you, Gul'dan. It cleanses all thoughts of hesitation, confusion or uncertainty. It creates a hunger that can be directed any way you choose." Drinking the blood turned them into slaves of the Burning Legion. It increased their power, it increased their bloodlust, and it gave them red burning eyes. They used this power to murder nearly all the Draenei, but later found out that this bloodlust would drive them crazy. They turned on each other, and something had to be done before they killed each other, and this led to the first invasion of Azeroth. Many years later, Grom and Thrall would kill Manoroth and free the Orcs from their slavery to the demons. I always thought that drinking demon blood instantly turned you green, but I'm not so sure anymore. I've been trying to Google it, but I'm getting different answers from different sources. More of you have been asking about the different skin color of the orcs, and this is what I know about it. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Brownish is the original color of the orcs, much like Garrosh. The orcs slowly turned green because they started to use fel magic. Even those who came in close contact with this magic, they also turned green. That's why Thrall's parents, they're also green, even though they never used fel magic. Garrosh remained brown because he was sick with red pox and he had to stay in Nagrand. For some reason, Nagrand remained immune to the corruption of the planet, and by effect the people who stayed there also kept their own skin color. Now, as I said, I thought drinking demon blood would complete the transformation and instantly turn you green, but I'm not sure about this. The burning red eyes is a clear sign of demon blood pumping in your veins. You might wonder, why is Thrall green? Because the green corruption sticks, and any children born from green parents will also be green. Agra and Thrall, brown and green orcs, they have about 50% chance at either a green or a brown child. If you remember the vision in the Cataclysm, the water vision of Thrall's children, you could see that one was brown and one was green. Orcs turn red when they drink a whole bunch of demon blood, or if they drink it for a second time, like we've seen with Grom and his troops in Warcraft 3. Orcs who are black or greyish, that skin color belongs to the orcs who stay for a longer period of time underground. Although even that skin color has some discussion behind it, because it could be just a game mechanic to make it easier to understand who belongs in what clan. So that's my information on the skin colors of the orcs. If you have any additional information or if something is wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. Will Blackhands, Durotan and others be able to step through the portal and live in our time? Yes, from what I understand it, the Iron Horde wants to invade our Azeroth, so technically they could do that. How can you say that they won't deal with the time travel stuff? That makes no sense. I say that because someone in the Q&A asked the exact same questions as the complications for the time travel thing, and they literally said they're not going to deal with it, and I'll show you the clip so that you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. Thanks for making the game. I want to ask, because we've got the time aspect in the expansion, does that mean we're going to have double ups on certain characters, like to vindicate the Morans? Because...
Nope.
No.
Oh!
And it's because we're clever.
Awesome.
Again, we really want the emphasis to be on Draenor, and so we can decide what kind of story we want to tell, and we're not really telling the time travel story, we're not really telling the paradox story, we're telling a story about going to this world and kicking butt.
Since UBRS is being revamped for Warlords of Draenor, and Rent is there at the moment, do you think he will stay there, or will he join the father-son fest somehow? I believe we killed Rent, so I don't think he'll be part of the story. I do wonder what they're going to do with the revamp of UBRS, since most of the story will take place on Iron Horde Draenor. Perhaps they're going to place the initial invading force from the Iron Horde, perhaps they'll place them in UBRS, which was the original old base for the original Horde, which is inside Blackrock Mountain. On a side note, they said that there will be 2 revamped dungeons, and one we know, one is going to be UBRS. I was wondering what dungeon could be the second one. Now it could be Akendun, perhaps that's the instance that they count as a revamp, but as far as I know, Iron Horde Draenor is going to be completely different from our reality, so I'm not entirely sure. The second option could be, of course, lower Blackrock Spire, because if you're going to do upper Blackrock Spire, why not take the lower section with it? But on the other hand, MMO Champion the other day had some screenshots of Karazhan being cleaned up. I wonder if they're going to revamp Karazhan into perhaps a dungeon or a raid or something like that. I think that would be awesome, and if you're looking for a place where you can bend time and you need some notes on how to create a dark portal, I would go to Karazhan. Would be absolutely amazing, because Karazhan is one of my favorite raids. What's Jaina going to do? I have no idea. They didn't say much about how they're going to continue the story that they've been building up with Mr. Pandaria. I do know that Christy Gul'dan is writing a new novel that will tell the story of Garrosh on trial. Everyone will get a part in it, and she also said that the relation between Kalik and Jaina isn't going great. From that information, I would speculate that she's still stuck in that Horde must die mindset, which pushes Kalik away, and who knows what she might do. Alrighty, final question already, because I've been talking for way too long. Will we get a new legendary questline, and will they put Wrathion in Warlords of Draenor?
Hi, my question is, are we going to see Wrathion in the next expansion?
I love Wrathion. You guys love Wrathion? Yeah. Pretty cool. I think he played a great role in Pandaria, and he helped kind of put the whole story together in Pandaria in a really neat way. He might take a little bit of a break. It doesn't feel right to have him do another legendary quest in the next expansion, so I would expect a cameo, but I wouldn't expect that kind of role again for Wrathion.
So he's not the final boss of Warlords?
He's Grommash will ride him into battle.
Well, my question is about the legendary. I've worked on 2 legendaries now. I worked on Wrath, got that done. It felt like a huge accomplishment. This one just feels like a raid requirement. Is that something you're going to see again in the future, or?
I think that we definitely want to do a legendary quest line. I don't think that those are exclusive concepts. I think that something we want to get in 6.0 is both a legendary quest line for a type of item, kind of like the cape, while also being able to do the other types of legendaries that are a lot more exclusive to, you know, killing a really hard boss. So in the same way that, you know, right now we have the Garrosh heirloom weapons, those are a little bit more exclusive, almost like the old legendaries worked. They aren't really exactly the same, but more along those lines. And I really think that we can have a balance between both of them.
So Wrathion won't play a big part in the expansion, and they were talking about possibly a legendary questline again in 6.0 with another more rare legendary to get. No details given, we don't know exactly what item it will be, but I like that they already teased with a possible legendary questline, because I loved Wrathion's questline. I loved the story behind it, I loved the reward for it. It was great. Hopefully they'll do something like that again. I would love to see it. And with that, I'm going to end this Q&A. Thank you very much everyone for sticking with me during this Warlords of Draenor coverage. It's been a couple of hectic weeks, but also a lot of fun. I hope I got you excited about the next expansion, as excited as I am. I hope Blizzard is going to do it justice, and I hope we will get some beta access. So if somebody at Blizzard is watching this and you've got a spare key for someone laying around, I would love to cover the beta, and hopefully you guys would enjoy seeing that. For now, I hope you have an amazing weekend, and until next time guys, see ya!